then go to the report, to the main business for today. Auditor General, this is one of the most comprehensive reports I've seen in terms of volumes, but also in terms of substance. I think you've done a good job. We have already gone through the issues. It's different from what we saw yesterday and in a few other counties. So well done for that exposition.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair, for that.
Could we then go to the main report, and Auditor, you'll read your findings on the outstanding matters. The Clerk of the Senate will tell us what we recommended, and then the Governor will tell us how far he has gone to implement those recommendations.
Thank you, Chair. This is the report of the Auditor General on the County Executive of Nyandarua for the year ended 30th June 2024. The overall opinion is qualified. I'll go straight to the basis for qualified opinion. Paragraph number 1, variances in the statement of comparison of budget and actual amounts, recurrent and development combined. The statement of comparison of budget and actual amounts reflects the budgeted amount of Kenya shillings 7,757,865,839 for payments. However, 3 components had amounts that differ with the amounts in the approved budget for the year ended 30th June 2024, as shown below. We have a table whereby we have the 3 items: compensation of employees. We have the final budget figures as 2.4 billion. Figures as per the approved budget, we have 2.4. There is a variance of 49.5 million. We have use of goods and services. The amount as the final budget is 1.7 billion. Figures as per the approved budget is 2.09 billion. We have a variance of 369 million. We have other grants and transfers where the amount as per the final budget figure is 1.6 billion. We have figures as per the approved budget of 1.2 billion. The variance is 319 million. In the circumstances, the accuracy and completeness of the respective component amounts reflected in the statement of comparison of budget and actual amounts could not be confirmed. Thank you, Chair.
Clerk of the Senate, what was the recommendation?
Chairman, the committee recommended that the Office of the County Governor undertake administrative action against the responsible officers who failed to provide documents to the auditors at the time of audit in accordance with Section 156 of the Public Finance Management Act 2012 and provide a status report to the Office of the Auditor General within 60 days from the date of the adoption of this report. Further, that the Institute ISPAC undertakes disciplinary procedures under Section 32 and 33 of the Accountants Act and provide a status update to the Senate within 60 days of the adoption of the report. Further, the EACC undertakes an investigation of the responsible officers with a view of recommending their prosecution for committing the offences stipulated under Section 62(1)(b) and (c) of the Public Audit Act, Cap 412, and for violations of provisions of Regulations 2010K of the Public Finance County Government Regulations 2015.
Governor, let's start with you. What action have you taken?
Thank you, Chair. I sought for explanation from the officers concerned.
Could we just to be sure that we are reading your responses? Where are the Governor's responses contained, Clerk? Is it in this matrix or in the file? So where's the first response? Where's the column for the Governor's response? Because this looks like our recommendations.
Governor, just for the neatness, first you tell us how many volumes you've submitted, so that when you read, we want to read with you. Which document were you referring to? Where's the response? I have only one.
The volume on the summary of unresolved issues, that booklet.
This one?
Yes.
Okay, so which page were you reading?
That is page 2.
Page 2.
Yes.
Okay. I'm with you, Chair. Chair, you there?
Sorry?
I've
You found it? You found it? Yeah, so if you are on the same page, the governor may proceed.
Thank you, Chair. I'm saying I asked the
I think it's neat just to read your response there, then
Right.
you can explain later.
So the management notes the committee's recommendation, and an explanation was provided by the accounting office in charge of finance on the cause of the variances. And among the explanations of the variances were as a result of the allocations done within the year in line with the Public Finance Management Act 2012, Section 154 2C. And you can see under Annex 1, that is Governor's Directive, to the officers concerned to make the correct amendments.
Governor, for our benefit, what are the requirements of PFM section 154 2C that you have referred to? Can your technical teams help you with that? You have referred to that section as a basis for the reallocations. So what does the section say, and how is it relevant to this matter?
Yeah, my technical team is working on that.
When you said you sought an explanation, who did you seek that explanation from? Because that's a person who should also be explaining to us.
and Governor, if you look at the annex you have directed us to, that I cannot see any letter you have signed there. I can see a letter from Mary Kamande, the CCM for finance, addressed to you. Where is the directive you gave?
It's the next page.
The next, in the next page, my county secretary wrote to the finance CEC, and now she's responding.
Which officer are we dealing with? Is it Joseph Wahome?
Yes.
Yes.
So he has not been transferred?
Yes.
He has not been transferred because I realized he was not really doing.
But Governor, you send him to take care of your children in Nyandarua. I can see a letter here sending him to be the Director of Children and Gender Affairs and Culture. How can somebody who's bad with documents be left in charge of children?
Well, issues to do with finances were very critical, and then we are trying to rehabilitate him from that point. See even because again.
But then, Governor, who signed these financial statements?
It is the person who was in finance office at that time, Joseph Wahome.
Just read for me the signatories.
Joseph Wahome and Frederick Kirongo.
So this officer who was being reassigned, is he Joseph or is Frederick?
It's Joseph.
It's Joseph.
Yes.
And Frederick?
Frederick is with me here now. He's the one taking charge.
May I ask why these financial statements were signed on 13th of December, outside the constitutional timelines? Because 13th of December therefore meant the OAG had only less than 20 days to consider the financial statements. OAG, what was how is this possible?
Thank you, Chair. I want to confirm to the committee that these are amended financial statements. We received the set on 30th September. We did the audit, we raised some issues, and this now addressing the issues that we had raised in the management letter in the draft audit report. This is the final set that came to us for sealing.
So does this set of financials respond and close the audit queries that you had raised?
Yes, Chair. Yes, Chair.
But you have just told us that all those queries are still unaddressed.
There were some which were addressed. Now, the report of the Auditor General was signed with this particular set because now we were going to the end of the statutory period, and the client was unable now to address the issues that remained. All the processes had been followed from the audit query, the management letter, the draft audit report, and the Auditor General had to sign now based on this particular set and the issues that remained unresolved, Chair.
Okay. Senator Marumo?
Yeah, Governor, the audit states that the amounts as per the approved budget were differing from the amounts as per the financial statements. Let's take, for example, compensation of employees. Figures as per the approved budget are 2,400,244,418, and the final budget figures as per the financial statements, we have 2,449,774,418. It means that there was a variance of 49,530,000. How do you explain that variance? Why were you paying outside what you budgeted for? Where are you getting that extra money from, Governor?
Yeah, I think that is a question. You have already demonstrated the administrative action. By the way, Governor, we must be clear that when we say administrative action, it does not mean sacking or resignation. It could even mean training. It could even mean a written reprimand. So don't use our report to justify your transfer of officers that you don't like.
I get it, Chair.
Yeah? Administrative action is broad. It is not just sacking and resignation. But you are the CEO, the decision is yours. But it could start from training. But this is an ISPAC, so I don't know whether how much more training an ISPAC would need. It could be a warning and all those things. So now the second bit that Senator Marumo has asked is the reconciliation. Now let's go to the numbers. So you've sent the guy away, but the offense is not addressed.
Thank you, Chair. Through His Excellency the Governor, I believe the issue was a budget issue. Some components in the budget were not properly budgeted. For instance, it's true the compensation of employees was 2.4 billion, but an extra 49 billion was budgeted as use of goods under pensions and gratuity. So while paying, the payroll department charged from the pensions as part of compensation. So the issue, as someone who prepared the financial statements, was a budget issue, and we had to correct it while preparing the financial statements.
Auditor, when you sum up this variance, does it net off?
Thank you, Chair. Because these are different components, they should not net off. We have compensation of employees, we have use of goods and services, and other grants and transfers. There are different aspects of the financial statements, Chair.
No, if you add the amounts there, it is equal to zero. Are you getting my point?
I get your point, Chair. I get your point, Chair.
Because the concern would be if the governor had a budget in the financial statement that exceeded what was approved by the assembly. That would be an offense. But the reallocations, the net effect is zero. Auditor, please confirm that.
Shortly, Chair.
Yeah, because if that is the case, then referral to EACC would be too severe.
And Chair, the explanation of this is what we did not get at the time of audit.
Have you gotten it in the subsequent engagements with the executive?
Yeah, the allocations for this year, we've looked at them, and the explanations have been provided, but not for this particular year.
No, for that particular year. Have they been explained, the variances?
Not yet, Chair.
Governor, you are referring to the PFM. Can you, have you found what that PFM, that section you referred to says?
Chair, I would like to confirm that the variances net off, the only issue is what the auditor, I want to agree with what he has said. He may not have gotten the right information at that time, and that is why I reprimanded the officers, but the variances net off very correctly, and we have a zero difference.
Yes, but there was that section of the PFM that you referred to. What does it say? It's a bigger crime to increase the budget that the Assembly has already approved. But it also cannot be correct that when the Assembly approves 2.4 billion for compensation of employees, you do reallocation to increase it. Fine, that can be done through supplementaries, isn't it?
It's not really increasing. It is that at the budgeting time, issues like what the chief officers have said, like mortgage and pension, that's why we are allocating within the same money.
No, Governor. You have said you're going to transfer 1.2 billion, and then you've transferred 1.6 billion. It's like the National Treasury saying they're sending 405 billion to counties, then they decide to send 430 billion. Shouldn't that come back as a supplementary? Because for them to do 430, they have to pinch from another program.
Yes, that has to be supplementary.
So was that done in this case? Does the law require you to take it back to the Assembly?
Thank you, Chair. To regularize, yes.
And was that done?
No.
So you breached the law?
I think the same happened close to the end of the financial year.
No. There is no excuse. Those gentlemen sitting behind you, they are the representatives of the people. And they're the ones who do the budget. And once they have said that transfer 1.2 billion, and then you go and transfer 1.6 billion, you must take back an explanation for their confirmation. Mr. Deputy Speaker of the County Assembly of Nyandarua, is that the expectation? If you've approved transfer 1.2 billion and the county approves transfers 1.6 billion, and because they have pinched it from use of goods and services, which is development, shouldn't that reallocation come back to the Assembly? Or how does it operate in Nyandarua?
I believe, Chair, as you had stated, through supplementary budget, it is possible to reallocate the amount as needed. Otherwise, the money has to be hived off from other accounts.
So, Governor, was that done? Was there authority from the Assembly for the reallocations?
Chair, what we fail to do is to go for regularization. Otherwise, when it comes to salaries, sometimes it may not have to wait. And again, this happened towards the very end of the year. So regularization bit didn't take place appropriately, but no loss of funds, Chair.
From experience, let me tell you why this is dangerous. We have seen governors towards the end of the year reallocate money from programs to the office of the governor. I've seen that case, not once, not twice. And then they get away with it. That's why the Assembly must be very vigilant. That once you have passed a budget saying you're going to pay employees, you're going to do goods and services, close the window so that the governor does not reallocate 400 million to his office. and say that it was end of year and say that it nets off to zero. You know, it will still net off to zero. But there's a program that will suffer somewhere, and the governor's office will be overfinanced without public participation, without approval of the assembly.
And you know, Chair, when we overspend on these other grants, we need to know which grants these ones are. They are very popular grants to people in the wards, like 2 million, 3 million to the ward, called empowerment programs, where money is just dished out, 100,000, 200,000 to women groups, to youth groups. This money basically is normally not accounted for. You cannot follow up and see how many groups got that money and what they are doing with it. If it goes to other grants, we need to know which grants these ones are. Otherwise, this could be an avenue, Chair, to pilferage public funds. I'm hoping 319 million just paid in terms of grants, other grants and transfers. We need to know which grants and transfers these are, where this 319 million came from. Is it from a capital expenditure to just grants where we just give out money to women groups and youth groups in the name of empowerment programs? And so really we need to scrutinize this thing, Mr. Chair.